Woo! Hey, welcome into another episode of Just
Just
Like
like
Us. I'm your
us.
host, Justin Bird. It's my lovely co-host, Letty
Letty
Zito. How you
Zito.
feeling, Letty?
I feel great. How
Woo!
about you,
Man,
Justin?
I feel like I look.
Mm.
And
Right.
I hope I look good. I
You
mean,
look
I
good.
feel great. So, I want to say thank you guys for joining us wherever you're at in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at. You could be anywhere in the world, but you
Mm.
guys are here, right here with
With
us.
us.
And we just want to say thank you for
My
that.
little heart. My
So, tonight we are going to be talking about. Go ahead, lady.
We're going to be talking about, and I have notes, so excuse me if I'm looking here and there. We're getting all that figured out, but we're talking about legacy and letting go, right? Lessons from a global spiritual leader, right? I want to, if you guys want to join us in a moment of silence for the passing of Pope Francis, who passed away on Monday, the day after Easter. Um, so if you want to just join us for a moment of silence, you don't have to. If you want to, we just want to support, our Catholic community. He was a great global leader, spiritual leader. And like I said, you don't have to be Catholic to give honor and pay your respects.
All right.
So let's just take a moment of silence.
Okay. God bless. Prayers go out
Yes,
to him and his family.
absolutely. The
We're not
Vatican.
Catholic. We're not religious, but we are spiritual. So this impacts a lot of people. Especially in the Catholic world and in the churches and things like that. So prayers go
Yes.
out to him and his family. God bless. Um, we're diving into the wisdom of Pope, Francis, and how his life teaches us about humility, forgiveness, and the kind of legacy that matters the most. Even if you're not religious, there's something here for everyone. So again, shout out to him and his family. We love you. God
Yes.
bless you. And we just want to touch base on the fact that at some point we're all going to go. And right now, I'm working on building a legacy. I don't want my son, if I was to pass away today, to have what would he do? I don't want to have these questions of is he going to be okay? What's going to
Right.
happen? Is he going to? I mean, of course he's going to live. He's going to thrive. He's going to be okay. But I would like to start building the legacy right now so that we, as a family, can have something to depend on, something that we can count on that's going to be in place when that day comes, because it's going to come. There's going to be a day where I'm no longer here. My son's going to be here. Lady and I will not, be here. But it's kind of sad to think about, but it's true. It's real. The fact is that, at some point we're going to go, and building a legacy is where I'm at. And I have been working my butt off. There's days where I feel like I could be doing more, but also I have to take care of myself. I have to take care of me inside and out. And I'm really proud of myself from how far I've come, as a person, as a father, as a husband, a husband in the making, and just for a human being, because I've come so far, and I'm very, very proud of myself, as you guys should be when you progress to do better for yourself as well. So again, having that attitude of gratitude helps, because I feel like being able to pour into myself is key. If I'm not going to do it, who is?
And that
who's
is
going to?
absolutely so important, right? What
Yeah.
you said, pouring into yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not pouring into yourself, you're going to be pouring into others
Right.
from a cup of resentment, could be a cup of fear, a cup of approval. But when you're giving
Oh,
Right.
wow, we've been on mute this whole time?
We have.
I think so. How did that happen?
I'm not too sure. I have no idea. Is it still on mute?
Okay.
It doesn't
we
look
was
like
on
it's
mute.
on. Really?
It had mute right here, but okay.
Oh.
So
Anyways.
okay, we're gonna start over. We've been on mute, but
Hmm.
we want to say, shout out to Francis, the Pope Francis, and we're really, sending our regards to his family and the people that are missing him. We're not Catholic, but we are faithful and we are spiritual. So this impacts a lot of people, and we just want to say, shout out to him and his family. Our prayers go to you. Thank you for your service and everything you've done and what you've been a part of and what you've been able to move. We're diving into the wisdom of Pope Francis and how his life teaches us about humility, forgiveness, and the kind of legacy that matters most. Even if you're not religious, there's something here for everybody. And so, humility leads with power and not with pride. Right. So
Yes.
I don't think anybody was able to hear what you're saying.
Okay.
So if you want to kind of like dive back into what you were saying.
Dive back into what I was saying.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure.
What he's done, what Pope Francis is.
What he's done. I mean, he reached out beyond the borders of just the Catholic Church. He wanted to, make everybody inclusive and extend faith in God to everybody. Right. It's just like I have 5 kids, and there's just one of me, and I don't relate to all of them the same way. Like they don't relate to me the same way, but I have that same relationship with all of them. And that's what the Pope wanted all of us to know was, God's love. And he was so humble. He didn't have this like big, gigantic house. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. This is just the way he chose to serve the globe, globally. And, and I love the way that he, offered himself that way to the world. And I just wanted to, pay honor and respect to his memory and, mourn with our Catholic community. Like Justin said, we don't have to be of any, faith, but we want to, extend our condolences to the Catholic community, to the world, to the Vatican for the loss of Francis. And, we want to talk about, legacy and letting go. And what, the power of humility and service, like what you were saying, right? He had a humble approach to leadership, like I said, he chose modest living quarters. He focused on serving the poor and the overlooked, and he inspired us with his empathy. So we just wanted to reflect on Pope Francis's efforts.
Can you guys hear us? Can I get a thumbs up? Anybody over here? Can y'all hear us? Because we just had technical difficulties, kind of a little bit frustrating because we're over here talking. So if anybody, whoever's on, I see we got one person on here. Would you mind giving us a thumbs up or chiming in, letting us know you can hear us? And if you can hear us well, please let us know. We were going on for about 10 minutes now, and I seen that on the screen there was a mute button that I have never seen. It said mute, and I went to go tap it on mute. Let us know. Can you guys hear us? Please. If there's anybody in here, let us know. Again, we're talking about the Pope passing away and giving shout out to his family, and humility. It leads with pride, not power. Power, not pride. Excuse me. So healing starts when we own our past. It really does. When humility starts when we own our past and not just try to escape it with something, drugs and things that we've done. So we're just reflecting right now on the things that we're grateful for. This is an episode that we're proud to be here as a family, and having the things that we have. Like that, we could be gone, guys, in an instant. And it could be for any reason. But I hope to be 103 when I pass away. And again, we want to send prayers out to Pope Francis and his family for all of his services and things that he's done. He was a giver. He was very kind. And there's a lot of great things about this man that we can speak about. So if there's anybody out there that wants to chime in, me and Letty said we had a little moment of silence earlier. It was really silent because I don't think we had our mics on. But either way, again, thank you guys for being here. And we enjoy showing up like this. Sometimes, when we don't have many viewers on, it can feel a bit like, dang, are we, but we keep pushing forward and moving forward because we know there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're showing up, we're pouring into this, and it feels good to be able to be consistent like we have, because again, we haven't missed a beat. There hasn't been one single episode that we have missed. We haven't had to put anything off, right?
Yeah,
I don't think
I don't think I was on one time. I think it was just you, but.
Yeah, but either way, we've been showing up, and so episode 35, I believe this is, and again, we're just shouting out to Pope Francis and his passing, and unity is built through understanding and not division. So being able to be together as a unit, there's a whole lot more power to be had is a unit, as opposed to being apart. So, we're just really taking it all in and really accepting that one day we're not going to be here, but making the most out of what we can right now, pouring into our family, our little Justin over here, making sure he has what he needs, because at some day there's going to be a day that comes where I'm no longer going to be breathing. Me and Leg are going to be gone, and this little kid is going to hopefully have a legacy. If I have anything to say about it, he's going to have a legacy that I've left him, that he can build from and leave a legacy for his kids and his grandkids. And I'm going to break that generational curse. I really am. It's been years and years and years, generations where, we've had some really hard workers, but I don't aim to be a worker. I aim to be, a legacy builder, somebody who I'm going to break the curse of not being a millionaire. And it's not about the money, but, with money, you can change things. There's a lot of things that we can do. I do want to say that I just had surgery on my mouth. And so this side of my face was like kind of numb, and it was literally like an hour and a half ago where I just got out of the doctor's seat. And I got more implants in my mouth. So for anybody who listens to this or hears this or sees this, do not use any kind of drugs or substance. I told Justin the other day, I said, there's going to be a day where somebody's going to want you to try a vape with flavor, and it's going to potentially taste good. And and I encourage him to let him know. There's our Justin right there. What's up, buddy? We're on a podcast. Oh, you want to come in? What's up? You here?
Anyways,
there you go.
So we're, talking about building a legacy. And for me, I have 5 kids, so I want to be, my 5 children something that, they can be proud of. I want to be proud of myself. I want my creator to be proud of me. I know he is. And this isn't about like being perfect or, having it all together. It's quite the opposite. He takes us as we are and, does what he needs to do in us so we can make an impact, so we can serve one another. Because that's what it's about. For me, that's the type of legacy that I want to be. And of course, financially too, right? I mean, it's not, I'm not going to sit up here and say that that's not what it's about either. But that is not what I'm dealing with. I've had some really nice things in my life, but they didn't fill that void for me. And for me, it's about, communication and community and unity. And sometimes I struggle with that. Sometimes I, I go in like what people call like hermit mode. I don't want to put myself out there as much. But here I am on a podcast with all of you, right? Putting myself out there. And all of you can do that. You can start leaving a legacy for your family, for your generation, not just your family, but for a generation, right? Give yourself a shot at a better life. Wow, I'm just fumbling over my words tonight, Justin. You want to help me?
Yeah. Okay. So, letting go is your space for something greater. And, being vulnerable, I think, is my superpower. So there's often times where I don't mind shedding a tear or being an emotional person, because, that's what we are. We're emotional creatures. Some people are a lot more emotional than others. But, letting go for me, it clears up room in my head and my heart for new things. So I'm not like overwhelmed or consumed with, stuff that I've already gone through. Like, for me, I'm like, why continue to beat a dead horse, so to speak? Or, if I haven't learned something from it, then it's time to move on. If I can't make a reason, at least find a reason to learn something from it, then I'm going to move on. Because I don't have the space or the room for that anymore. I just don't. I don't have the time to go back and try to figure out something that's already in the past. if I haven't learned something from it, then maybe it's time to just let it go. Whatever that looks like, just let that go. I don't want to harness that hate or harness that and hold on to that, that negativity, so to speak. So I just want to be, comfortable with who I am. I think Justin's outside. I'll be right back, you guys.
Anyway, so I guess it's just me now. Humility leads with power, not pride. And you've got to know the power that you possess inside. And it's not about ego and I'm better than anybody, but it's about understanding that power that lives on the inside of you. Right? We all have it. And some of us, we are afraid of it. I know I was. I was afraid to let my light shine for fear that someone else might feel, that I was being too showy or, I wasn't humble enough. And today, I don't have to do that. Although sometimes I do, just being honest, sometimes I feel small sometimes, but it's me. Those are things that I get to work out in myself. And just reflection. I think reflection is so important. And I think reflecting on your past is important. It doesn't mean, like what you said, you don't keep beating a dead horse over and over again. And I know for myself sometimes, it can be hard to let go of the past because, I'm afraid that I'm going to get hurt that way again. But, it's a beautiful thing because we can always start over right where we're at. We can change our minds in an instant and allow ourselves to have different thoughts. And, that's like the legacy I want to leave my kids too, a legacy of love and freedom and peace and joy and happiness within. So I have to cultivate that within myself first so that I can give it to somebody else. I can give it to them. I can show them the way to do that. And true leadership does start with humility, not ego, not thinking, that I'm better than anybody else. Anybody can do what we're doing. You just start where you're at.
Yeah.
If you could see this room we're podcasting in, it's not a
podcasting room, but we're getting there.
We're getting there for sure, right? Yeah. And you just start where you're at. Whatever it is you want to start with, start where you're at. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it done.
And letting go of pride, it opens the door for real healing. Just letting go of your pride. It's like, to me, again, I don't want to leave here with regrets. I don't want to live with regrets. I don't want to feel like there's something I didn't learn from stuff. And again, if I'm finding myself not learning from it, then maybe that's just not supposed to happen. It's time to let that go and be a thing in the past. I don't have time to waste. I got time to grow. I got time to develop, and I got time for my kids and my family. I want to be the best version of me I can be. And there's, of course, there's times where that's not the case, but that's okay. You know why? Because I'm doing what I need to do for me to grow, and I'm going to continue growing. And so pouring into myself is super, super important to me, and making sure I'm showing up for me. Because again, Letty sees me in here. I've seen Letty in here doing our thing business-wise, and it can be tough. It can be exhausting. It can be tiring, but I haven't stopped, grinding. I haven't stopped doing the business and the things because this is new to me. The business side of things is really, really new to me. We have the AI Genie workshop coming up this Saturday, and I'm co-hosting this. This is my second webinar I co-hosted, and I'm getting better and better at. My skills are getting sharpened up every each one of these I do. So I feel great about that. And again, the processes I'm going through, the things I'm going through, the steps I'm taking are definitely shaping me into a better, person business-wise, showing up for myself, being a leader. It helps me and my confidence, and I'm already very confident, but also, I feel like there's always room for improvement. There's definitely room to grow. I'm starting to listen to more and more podcasts, and I'm also listening to audiobooks. Atomic, what is it called? Atomic Habits is a really good one I'm listening to right now, and I find myself often having to rewind it and kind of replay it again because I want to make sure I'm getting the information that I need to get. And I don't know if you guys heard this earlier, but I think we might have been on mute, but I got my teeth done and I've been numbed. And so I got 2 new rods put up in the sinus cavity of my gums. And so I was in a lot of pain. I'm sure that stuff's gonna wear off here soon, the Novocaine or whatever it is, and I'll be in some pain. But again, I don't even want to take the pills that the dentist prescribed me. I don't really like to take any kind of medicine. I was on substance for years and years. I was drinking and all these other things, and so forget the pain. I'll be fine. I really don't want to take meds or anything like that. So I'm just kind of winging it and just going through the pain, sitting with it. But I'm excited because I was able to, finally pay off the top portion of my teeth. This is a lot of money. I'm saying a lot, and I'm saying that to say, for me, like I wouldn't have thought about doing that when I was using it. It just wasn't a thought. I didn't worry about that kind of stuff. And so my teeth were just kind of like starting to decay, and were getting worse and worse. And so when I finally ended up getting sober, that was like one of the first things I did was I wanted to get. I smile a lot. If you guys know me in person, you guys know me and you've met me. I am a smiling person. I'm happy a lot. And so my teeth are very important to me. They're very, very important for the way I feel about myself. And so, and I've got to eat, right? For the past year, I've been having to watch what I eat because it's like I can't eat an apple. I'll break these fake teeth I have in here. I've been dealing with, just the dental issues. But again, don't do substance, don't do drugs, like I did. And I told to the dentist today, he's like, man, I'm sorry, you're so much pain. He's like, what's your level of pain? I said, man, I'm at an 80, bro. And I'm like, I was like, man, I was in a lot of pain today.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, that's what I get. That's what I get for doing drugs for so long. That's what I can expect for myself. It's, and again, my heart, my liver, the things that I put my body through, I do. I talk to my heart. I talk to myself and say, thank you for still beating. Thank you for, for continuously moving and making things happen and enabling me to be alive. And who knows with keeping the brain going every single moment of every single day and the heart pounding. I don't even that's an amazing muscle, an amazing organ to keep pumping that blood, through our bodies, all the way to our toes and back. And so, this episode is about gratitude and feeling thankful for just simply being alive. Even if I was in a wheelchair or something like that, it can always be worse. Something my dad told us when we were kids, we were homeless in our van and we were at a park and he said, boys, come up here, and we've been homeless for a year at this point, probably a little bit longer. And it was rough. Back then, we didn't have cell phones. We weren't if we leave our mom and dad, there's a chance that they might not see us. If you left their side, I'm pretty sure my mom was terrified for us to go away and be at the park by ourselves or something and get lost. Because what do? We didn't have a home, nowhere to go to. We didn't have cell phones, so it's gonna be, we're gonna be just lost, And so my dad says, "Come up here, I want to show you guys something." And there's him, my mom are sitting in front, and we were all in the back, both my brothers and our dogs, and so we come kind of piling up to the front. And he said, "Look out there." And what we seen was a couple they were holding hands, walking through the park, and they had sleeping bags on their backs, and this, you could tell they were homeless. I mean, maybe they weren't, but chances were, I'm pretty sure they were homeless. So he says, no matter how hard it is or how bad you guys think you have it, it can always be worse. And he just pointed out to this couple, and I didn't realize what he was saying until years later when he died. And it dawned on me that what he was saying is, even though we were what I felt to be the worst case scenario, even though we were homeless, nobody else me was homeless, nobody else in the projects was homeless, and everybody had an apartment, everybody had a place to call home. Our home was our van, and I didn't realize how valuable that was to be in a van, because we could have been like that couple out there in the park with nothing, and to me it was nothing. And they might say, "Hey, look, we're rich with love. We got our backpack, we got our, what I mean?" I'm just saying, it's your own perspective, what you get out of life, how you feel about things. What what do you value? What are the things that you love the most? Are you hung up on not being able to have something? Are you because for me, being homeless with our parents, we weren't homeless. We had a van. We at least had a place that we could rest our necks out of the cold or out of the heat that we called home. And so I was really thankful when that finally dawned on me, what my dad was saying to me that day about, no matter how hard it is, it can always be worth it. So,
it's about being thankful, right? Like what you said, thankful for what you have, right? And for us too, growing up, right, there was 5 of us, and we were all in a room together, in one room together, sharing, beds and one room. We didn't have a whole lot, we were what was called poor. but we had a lot of love. Even though there was a lot of dysfunction, we did have a lot of love. It was all about community where I grew up, and that's a legacy that my family has passed on to me. And that's something that I want to pass on to my kids. And just this past weekend, we got together with some friends and went to the park and had an Easter egg hunt, and I got to spend time with my daughter and my granddaughter, little Lila May. And it was just a good reminder, of why we're doing what we're doing, right? And why we're continuing to, um, continuing our personal growth and continuing my faith and my love for God, because I wouldn't be here without that. I wouldn't, I would still be trying to fill that void, and I'm learning, like I said, so much about myself and so much about, Justin, now that we're off of, substances, and we're getting to know each other all over again. And, he has his thing with business going on. Business isn't always just, I'm my business. I'm the biggest thing that I
never had one, so I don't
that
know.
I will that I will work on. It's not just about like a building or having online success or any of that. Just in me talking to other business owners, it's nice to have that. That's not what I'm saying here.
Question. So for you, with not wanting to own a business, what are some options
for me?
Yeah,
I can always go back to a position. There's other avenues for me to make money. Right? There's other opportunities, and right now I'm taking the opportunity that's been gifted to me to work on this business right here, right, which is my mind, body, and my soul. And I take that, I take it seriously, not too seriously. I want to laugh. I took life so seriously all the time. And I want to be able to laugh at my mistakes and just laugh more in general, right? Smile more and enjoy the life that, I'm being given again. I feel like I've had a rebirth. And I'm just excited to have this opportunity at life again and enjoy the people that I'm surrounded by. And then I get to choose who I want in my life and, who I don't want to be a part of my life. And I didn't think I had choices before. I was a box within a box, and didn't know that that there were choices that I could make. And, and that's what I want to leave, a legacy of, is that we have choices. There are so many choices, and it isn't even about making the right or wrong choices. For me, it's about alignment. What aligns with me, what resonates with, my spirit. Not,
right.
Am I trying to get approval? Am I trying to get you to love me? Am I forcing things, right? It's really getting to know yourself and being true to who you are and who you've been called to be. I've been doing and trying to have, but I haven't really been and didn't know what that even looked like for me. And I get the opportunity to, ask my creator, what did you create me for? And what purpose do you have me here for? What do you want me to be? And then I get to step into that every day. It's like a new adventure. I like to see what comes at me, and also what I can create in the world around me. And it is all about perspective, and it's about how you see it. Because what you see inside is what you see out there.
Potentially, right?
Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the person who's.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like business, and again, we're kind of discussing, being able to be at home as opposed to going out and working 9 to 5. I personally don't want to work for, a big brother. I don't want this person to tell me when I can and can't do something. Like, I want to work for myself. I'm putting this energy out. I feel like I'm worth $2 million a year. That's my opinion. Like I want to get paid for my services, not my hourly wage. I don't want to be a worker anymore. I'm okay with that. I've been a businessman for many years. It was in the drug world, but I was a businessman. If I didn't want to go make money, I didn't have to. and I liked the freedom of not having to get up and go, clock in and ask if I can go use the restroom, or I just that ain't for me. I'm a leader, not a follower. And so for me, I'm trying to lead from the front, not from being behind, staggering behind somebody else, making them rich. Because really, like when we're showing up for a company, I feel like the money that they're making, I know right now that the company I work for, that each call I go out to is $1,500 just for me to show up, and I'm getting pennies for that. I'm really like not getting hardly anything for that. So that's one job. Sometimes I do 6-7 jobs a day. So 15 times, let's say 15 times 5, 15, 30, 45, 60. That's almost $8,000 for a day's worth of work. And I'm just saying that to say, I want to work for myself. I don't want to continuously going and being working for the 9 to 5. So,
but there might be some people that enjoy that, and I think that I mean, it depends on how you look at it.
I think if you had an option or choice to stay home and be like, work from home, it might be a better option than having to go work and clock every day for somebody. Yeah, I mean, it's great, but I think it's a way I personally feel like we've been trained to be like, this is the norm, to go clock in 5 days a week. Like, that's way too much, you guys. I feel like working 5 days a week is just way too much for me. Why not work 3, get off 4, and be able to be creative? Because the system ain't built like that, we're not meant to go and be entrepreneurs and work for ourselves and have our own farms. And we're here in America, we're workers, and we're people with jobs. The school system is, I believe, built to have workers. It's not built to make entrepreneurs, people that to think for themselves. We're slaves to the TVs, and I feel like we're slaves to this certain way of life. I do. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, entertainment is good, but like everything's about entertainment. Even when we went into recession, even when we went into these things that we've gone through in the past 10 years, we always had entertainment. Which is fine. I get it. You got to have fun, right? But I mean, at what cost? Why is there 100 channels on our TV at any given time? You got 100 channels to choose from, because really there's things that are in play to keep us. And I'm not saying this is for sure, but in my opinion, we're not supposed to go out and venture out and learn about ourselves. We're supposed to be programmed. That's why it's called a television. It's the teller of your vision. It's the teller of your vision. It's the teller of your phonetics. It's the teller of. So there's things that are set in play that are right in front of us that I feel like I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole with this, but I'm saying this to say, for me, I'm glad to be a visionary and to be able to see that there's more than just me working for somebody else. What's up, Charles? Let's go, man. Hyped up in the building. Coach Charles Floyd is in the house, y'all. Season 2, episode 7. Hey, I forgot about that. Let's go. Yes, the tell live vision. Look at what he said. Television. Tell live vision. You know what I mean? And you know what? Speaking of the television, I don't really watch much of it, but when I do, it's about things that I can learn from. And I'm no better than nobody. I'm not trying to say anything negative. I'm just saying, for me, I don't watch TV much because I know the power behind it. I know that it has the power to captivate me, keep me stuck and glued in my chair, which is cool. But I'm not meant to be sitting down waiting for things to come to me. I'm meant to go out and get things. I'm meant to go be a part of the world and make my universe my universe. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like I have a lot of power. So shout out to Coach Charles, man. Big time. What's up, man? Glad to have you in here, brother. In the Matrix. That's what's up. Yeah. Let's go. Me and Coach Charles, we're doing it right now. We have several things going on right now. We have the challenge going on, and I cut out from the challenge to be here. So the challenge for me is being a captain within the academy I'm in, and it feels good to show up because we got a lot of people coming in. But how you feeling?
I'm gonna just let you go ahead and do what you're doing.
Okay, so we're at 35. I think we could probably call it a night on that one. Charles says, I'm about to watch TV right now, LOL, but I spent more time working towards my purpose today. That's what's up. I mean, that's really what it's about. We got a lot going on, don't we, Coach Charles? And it feels good. So as long as we're pushing forward, to get closer to the impact we're supposed to be leaving. Because again, you're a father now. I think your son's 6 months old as of a couple of days ago. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to have kids. It's a blessing to be able to, plant these seeds in the ground and have our kids rise up and follow what we're doing. And hopefully we leave a good impression with our kids. You know what I mean? And leave, plant that seed deep into the soil so that they can grow some deep roots, and be able to plant their feet on what we've done. So he said, I'm about to watch TV right now. That's funny. Good for you, man. Good for you. We got a lot of work to do. And again, I was talking about the AI Genie workshop that we got coming up on Saturday. A lot of big things I feel like coming up. So, Coach Charles, my accountability partner. So we're on 36. I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining. Again, a lot of you are going to probably catch this after the fact, after the live. But this was a shout out to the Pope passing, and we wanted to just send a shout out to his family, prayers to them, and everybody that was close to him and the people around the world. So God bless you guys, and thank you guys again for being here with us. You want anything you want to leave with, Letty?
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
Okay, well, thank you guys for being here. And again, we'll go live 6 p.m., which is Friday again. And I believe coming up next week, we have a special guest. I'm not going to give away who yet, but this is a special somebody. So we'll see you guys Wednesday at 6 p.m. PST. And yes, definitely stick with us. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Later, guys.